Hello everybody. It's all about the arts, and here we are at the Chaffee Art Center with my good buddy Sherri Birkheimer Rooker and well-renowned Rutland area artist Ann McFarren. And today we're very excited to speak with Sherri and Ann about Ann's artwork and her history as an artist for over 50 years. And also Sherri is going to let us know a little more about what's going on this upcoming summer for the Chaffee Art Center. So we have a lot to talk about. Let's get started.
I want to thank Missy too for coming on site because it's so exciting to be able to have people come into the Chaffee via the camera.
This is the first time we're doing this. And, it'll be pretty dynamic, I think.
Right, and it's perfect timing because we're hanging for Ann's show.
Yes,
we are. Which is called A Celebration of Heart. H-E-A-R-T.
It was exciting to come in and just have the art all around us.
I know, because it's everywhere.
It's on the floor.
I had a hard time getting started because I just wanted to look.
I know.
This is amazing because as we sit here with Ann, we're sitting here with Chaffee history, right? And not just this place, but just all of your years of artwork and all of your work as an artist. So how does that feel to you? Thinking back, and does it feel like it's been so long?
Well, in many ways it seems like yesterday, 50 years ago. It was a long time ago. I started painting in 1969. I was in my early 30s and the mother of 4 children, so I was an at-home mom, and I started to paint. Quite to save my sanity, I think.
This was an outlet for you.
It was, and yes. I just took to it like a duck to water. And I had 2 neighbors that were sometimes painters, and we would go out and paint, and people would say, "Did you all paint the same place?" They all look very different because that's the way we paint.
That's right.
So you really hadn't been painting until you were in your early 30s, and you just...
No, I always had the inclination to be artistic, but I had never done anything with it. I went through high school and graduated from Green Mountain College, which no longer is as of this year, which is very sad.
Very sad.
But anyway, I got married and had a family, and moved to Rutland. So I've been here for 62 years.
Isn't that wonderful?
It is. And it's also wonderful to think, I'm kind of in the midst of all this dynamic, busy, chaotic family stuff myself right now, and just to think that you gave that little gift to yourself, and that's how this all started.
I did.
Yeah.
And that's why we talk about doing, when we try to have the classes here and things like that for people, because we try to do different types of classes. You don't have to be an artist to come in and try something. I started painting, I've been here the second time, for a little over a year, and I started painting when I came in May.
Yes, you did.
And I love it. I wish I could do it more.
Right, well.
I know. Unfortunately, life and work gets in the way.
Yes.
But yeah, I really love it. What I try to do is try lots of different things. I took an oil painting class, which we're going to have again, right?
Oh, yes.
And that was fun. It's like you do 2 sessions, and I've done acrylics, and I did a watercolor. I was quite surprised at what I was able to do. You just have to kind of be open to it.
And the sip and dip classes are really fun.
They're very fun.
They're fast-paced.
Very fun.
They're fast-paced, and most of the people that come, a lot of them have never painted before, and it's a fun situation.
Very fun, because Ann's paintings are usually a little challenging because she does landscape things. The first one I ever did was birch trees with autumn leaves. That was not easy for me, but I did it.
Yes, you did.
And it's amazing because hers are not, what I'm saying is sometimes they're simpler and hers aren't really simple, but people do such a wonderful job. with them.
Well, I encourage them to be a bit creative as well. You know, they don't have to have theirs look just like mine. If they want to move a barn or add something,
Or highlight something and leave something out.
I'm fine with that. You know, that's their
So I don't have
prerogative.
much frame of reference for this. When I was a little girl, I used to watch Bob Ross. And you know, you do a little bit here and then a little bit and then the happy tree.
happy little trees.
Do you kind of do it that way, but like bit by bit? Is your painting in front of the people, or do you already
I
have
do
your
paint
painting
with them.
finished?
And because very often they'll say, what color are you using in
Or
that
what
tree?
brush are you using?
Or what brush are you using, even though they can probably see it. We put the paint out for them, so they've got it in front of them. But
Right.
I'll say you mix a little of this and a little of that, and you come up with the color you want.
So she paints along with you. So she has a blank canvas, and then she starts putting you as a blank canvas, and it's sort of, you know, some people learn by watching, you know, and some people learn by just doing. So you're kind of like both. And you also usually have an image beside you of what it is.
Oh, that sounds really
It's
interesting.
really fun.
You should try.
And I should try.
You should come.
It's
I can
fun.
barely open the paint containers without there being a catastrophe. So
Well, you bring your bottle, little
clumsy.
bottle of wine or whatever.
even the wine will make me
By
less
By the end of the
clumsy.
class, it looks
Okay.
better.
Take another sip, you'll like what
People
you've
have to
done.
relax, and that's exactly what happens
Yeah.
because, you know, like when we were children, right, and how wonderful they are in art, they just explore. As you get older, you get more apprehensive and
Yeah.
and thinking, uh-oh, am I doing this right? And it's really not a right or wrong. That's when we have classes on Saturdays. We have classes every Saturday for kids. It's at 11 o'clock, and that's what I try to tell them because I teach a lot of them that, you know, it's really about having fun and how they feel.
Right.
You know, you don't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be the same, which is what Ann was saying. It's kind of your feelings and your perspective.
And they're getting used to using the materials. That's another thing. If they feel
Fan
comfortable.
brush. Ann does fan brush really well. I have a really hard time with that.
Well, once they get more comfortable with mixing colors and using different brushes, and they'll
They're
become
amazing.
more proficient.
And I think the earlier you start and have that love for it, the more it'll take you through your life.
Right. Whatever. And we talk about this show. It's called "It's All About the Arts," and we were saying it like, and the art really. There's art in everyone. I mean, you're an artist really because you do these types of creative shows and commercials and blah. I mean, it's many things, stuff. And then Ann's an artist. A fine artist. I love to decorate and rearrange. And then the garden club's going to be doing floral arrangements
Yes.
based on Ann's paintings, and that's an art. We all have art within us. You just have to kind of realize that and let it go. 'Cause some people go, "I'm not an artist." Yeah, you are.
Yeah, we all have our different ways, that's for sure.
That's right.
So tell us about this opening.
This opening.
We see all of the evidence of it around us.
Goodness, I know, and Ann's whole family is just rallying around her to help with. There's going to be lots
They
of
are.
food to eat, all homemade wonderful things, and
we're having music.
we're having music, cello, and Putney Mountain Winery. They're our
Putney
wine
Mountain
sponsor. They're
Winery.
going to be having wine, and there'll be Ann will be in the whole bottom of the Chaffee, and up the stairway, and then juried members of the Chaffee. They'll have work on the second floor, so which will be really fun for people too, because you can spend the whole day here looking at Ann's 100+ paintings, and then all of the ones upstairs.
So this reception for the opening is June 21st, so it's a
Yes.
Friday evening.
It's a Friday evening from 5 to 8, but not to worry because it's up until July 26th.
Okay.
Right.
So it's for
over a month.
Yeah, over a month.
During gallery hours, and I tell
Right.
people to check the website at
Gallery
Chaffee
hours, right?
for days and hours.
Right, because we're open Wednesday through Friday from noon to 5, and then Saturday 11 to 3. So that's what Ann's saying is that if you're unsure, check.
That will be a really fun reception, I think.
It's going to be very fun.
Oh, I think so.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It's gonna be fun to
Probably one of
celebrate
your most
Ann.
crowded ever, right?
I
Gonna
bet
get
you.
some big crowds.
I
We're
bet you.
hoping for good weather so we can utilize the
Go out onto
porches
the
and
porch, have
the
some of that Putney
grounds,
wine.
whatever we need.
So Ann, a lot of us who are local, we know what your art, the types of subjects that you paint. But for someone who has never seen your work, could you describe it from your point of view? The kinds of things that you like to paint?
Well, I usually paint something that speaks to me, as you might call it. Something that moves me, that evokes some feeling. I have to see it in just the right light. Sometimes you might go by something several times and it doesn't do anything for you. Maybe the light is just right someday, or it's a different time of day than you normally see it and it just changes it completely. And so then I take a picture with my camera or, my iPad I have with me frequently, and that goes into my computer, onto my iPhotos. And so I have that memory captured, and it brings back to me what it looked like. I can change things as I go along if I want to, but very often I try, if I like the composition, I try to keep it just the way it was.
And at
I
the
don't
opening,
have a
at
specific one.
for the show, you have specific rooms that'll be, let's say, the main connection, as in going to the state of Maine. And
Yes.
she loves,
We have family
Ocean.
there, and we have a place in Maine as well. But ever since my husband and I were married, that was one of our favorite getaway spots, was the coast of Maine.
and you can tell when you look at her
so
painting.
we have done it top to bottom several times, and it changes always, with the seasons, with the weather. Yes,
And she's going to have a room, the Rutland room, because she has a lot
Rutland area.
Rutland area.
Yep.
area. 'Cause she has a lot of,
I even have a picture of the city of Rutland that I painted. Not that I was there, but I researched it at the Historical Center from 1850. This road right here
fascinating.
was the main road, and that's where the business district was. And the courthouse was here. There was a tavern next door, which unfortunately, they had lanterns.
this was a hotel, right? Wasn't this a hotel?
I'm not sure what
That's what
this
I heard,
was.
and then it burned.
The
The whole
tavern,
thing burned.
and it was a stagecoach
That's-
stop.
There you go.
It wasn't this building, obviously.
But a whole bunch of them burned, I think.
The whole block burned
Yes.
because all it was Bucket Brigade. And by the time they got here with their buckets of water, it was
It was
far
all ashes.
advanced. And I'm sure a lot of it was wooden structures.
Right.
However, I think the tavern itself was brick. It looked to be in the pictures from 1850. But anyway, after that burned, and the park was still there. It was more oval than it is now, a little different shape. But after that, they moved on to Merchants Row. So,
And they still call this where the Chaffee is, which is 16 South Main Street, if people don't know.
it's a
It's
historical
historic business district or something like that.
historic center, anyway,
Yeah,
of
yeah,
town.
of town.
It's
They
the
still call it
oldest
that.
section of the town. And what used to be called the Lindholm Block,
Mm-hmm.
the building looks very similar to a building that was there when I first came and had another fire and burned, and then they have now this
Right.
building that resembles it,
Right. which is
and
right
the
down
same
street.
coloring. They keep that sort of light cream color. So, and as you went down to the corner, actually, there was a fort. It was called Fort Rutland by Woodstock
wow.
Avenue. We had
Wow.
Fort Rutland,
So you say it was 1850?
1850s.
Because this was built in the 1890s, the Chaffee.
Yes.
That's interesting, isn't it? Like when you think of the, because I always wondered, because I knew I had heard what burned, but
Well,
now
this
I
is a
know
beautiful old building, and it's a treasure we don't want to lose.
Absolutely. I've been steeped in this time period lately because we were at the MSJ graduation in St. Peter's Church, and my father-in-law was visiting from Connecticut, and he was so fascinated by that church. He thought it was
It's
so
beautiful.
and it
Yes.
is beautiful.
Yeah.
And he wanted to know what year it was, made and what kind of stone, and he had all kinds of questions. So I tracked somebody down from the school where I could ask all the questions, and we were able to answer it. But I started thinking, my goodness, all the different buildings from that era.
I know.
And
Yeah.
what a beautiful little city,
It is. It's a lovely old city in a lot of
Yes,
ways.
yes.
And there's some beautiful churches. I go to Greece, of course, and that also is very beautiful. We just had an art walk in church
That's right. I remember.
this spring, yes.
I mean, there's Christ the King, there's Immaculate Heart of Mary. They're all such beautiful churches.
Yes, they are.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're just so beautiful.
They're all beautiful
You know,
churches.
and I always love the little, we're talking about what's around the Chaffee, but I love the little, the where the Historical Society is now.
Oh,
And it
yeah.
was that the firehouse?
That was a fire
That's that
station,
little building.
yes.
I love that.
Oh,
little
the
building.
Nick-
Yeah.
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 That's adorable.
It's adorable.
I know.
So we do have a lot of really interesting. I keep saying that I'm going to start a walking group. Maybe if I say it out loud, I have to do it. And then what we could do is just have a walking group, and it would be for exercise, but we could do things like look at murals in Rutland, look at the historic whatever.
That's a good idea.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, so similar to the historical tours.
Yes, but
that
do it
they-
as like exercise, like do it every week. Neighbors.
I'd be with you until
Sherri-
about December, and then
She's like, Sherri, what are you doing?
yeah.
No.
Come February, it would be old.
It would be really fun.
it would be fun.
Fun to get together, but also,
Yeah, because you live someplace for most of your life,
Yeah.
and you start
You
to
ignore
take
some
everything
things
for
too, right?
granted.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you.
like the park. When you sit out on the Chaffee porch, we did this last summer, a friend of mine and I, we kind of brought a little food, where the band was playing, and it was like the perfect setting.
Yes.
Oh,
You know,
yes, it
we were
is.
sitting comfortably on the porch, we had all the food spread out.
Oh, yeah.
And,
They're just
we could
across
hear
the
it. It was
street.
If you could keep those big trucks from coming by,
Oh, I know.
the ambiance would be
I know.
perfect.
I know. I was on the upper,
Didn't have that in 1850s,
I was on the upper-
1890s.
at the top of the stairs, the doors open, and there's a balcony, like a huge area. But you can't go out there because it needs to have
Not
the
so
railings again. No,
Yeah.
it's safe, but no railings.
Mhm.
But we had to look up there with a builder person the other day, and I'm like, oh my gosh. She's like, look at this view. Just going up a floor, the view
Oh, yes.
of Rutland was
Yeah.
so pretty.
Yes.
And they were playing in the park too. They had something going on in the park. It was so cool. I'm like, oh my gosh. We have to raise money enough to get those so that we can have functions up
And
there.
we have the Green Mountain Boy, which I have painted,
Yep. Yes.
staring right in the window at us here. He's looking over Rutland, keeping guard over Rutland.
The
Yes.
statue right across the street.
Yes, that's nice to think about. So what else is going on?
Oh my gosh, so we've got a couple camps for young people, 6 to 12 years old, coming up in July and August. And so, people can call. We have the Open Studio Hub for teens that we'd love people to, teens to come into the Chaffee. And so funny, we had a class come in the other day, and they were fourth graders from RIS, intermediate school. And they all took turns playing the piano. They were here to see the student show, which just came down. But it was just so wonderful. They were all playing the piano, and I just think to myself, teens come in or young people come in, and it's such a cultural place, and you really can be yourself here. People think sometimes when they haven't been in, they think it's like it's a museum, but really, it's a mansion that has art in it, and that
It is a
it's
mansion.
very warm.
It
It's
is.
very warm, and we just love having people here. I mean, there were 35 kids in this place.
Wow.
And Luigi, who is sleeping beside me, my little puppy, they just love him to bits, and
Oh, yeah.
it's just it's just family, it's community.
I think one of the prettiest features is our stairway
Yes. It
with the landings.
I
It's
so
one,
want to do a
two,
wedding.
3
here.
landings.
Not mine, but somebody's wedding here.
We had our 50th anniversary here.
You did?
Yes, you did not know that.
No, I didn't.
Yes, it was,
You'll have to show me some
about 12
pictures.
years ago. Yeah, I have another scrapbook of that.
Yeah, you have to show me.
Yeah, I didn't bring that
because
one.
There's a few people that have had weddings. Darlene Perry, shout out, because we had swing dancing here.
Yes.
And she and her husband came, and anyway, and then I found out during this whole thing that they had gotten married here. And I saw some things recently on Facebook, because we try to post things on Facebook for people so they can know what's happening. It looked so beautiful, and I so want to do that. I'm working on the outside, the lawns and things like that. So anybody wants to have a wedding at the Chaffee?
It's a great idea, actually.
We do rentals. We do all kinds of rentals for bridal showers we've had here, and we've had retirement parties here and things like that. So just think about it if anybody's in that time period.
Camps are coming up,
Camps
right,
are
for
coming up,
summer?
in July and August. So you've got some time. We are just doing a few camps this year. We have a lot of other things happening, but
Remind me to take a brochure.
yes, we wanted to offer some camps. Puppets and Theater is one of them, and the other one is Asian art and cuisine. So it's going to be cooking and art, Asian.
Oh wow,
So that'll be
really
fun.
Neat. Keep Eagle Scouts who are working toward their Eagle Scout projects. Keep them in mind for some of your
I'd
bigger
love that.
projects, because
Yes.
where I live in Pittsford, I'm always coming across things where I'm like, oh wow, an Eagle Scout did this or that, and there are always those kind of projects that seem daunting.
They
to
do.
undertake.
They do a final project. I had a grandson who became an Eagle Scout in West Rutland.
So any Eagle Scouts out there, you just call Chaffee.
Or parents of Eagle
Or
Scouts.
parents
and
of
if
Eagle
you
Scouts,
have a need,
grandmothers, aunts, uncles.
let them know if you had. Let the Scout program know if you have a particular need for a certain thing
We
outside
do, and
or
always
whatever.
volunteering at Art in the Park, because our
Yeah.
Art in the Park, we probably have 350
But they like to
or
create
more.
something.
Yes, and there's troops, not just in Rutland, but also Pittsford and West Rutland, Proctor, all over the place. There's troops, so
Wonderful.
I'm sure they would help if asked. Yes.
That sounds good. Yes. Just like I was just saying, we have the Art in the Parks, August 10th and 11th, and October 12th and 13th, and Ann has been doing that show since almost from its beginning, because it began in '61, right? Because it's 58 years old, just like the Chaffee.
Well, I'm sure that was near the beginning of the Chaffee, because, as I say, when I joined in '69 or '70, probably before I joined,
Right.
it wasn't very old then.
No.
So
But so Ann will be there, and it's always such a fun time when you start looking out. I'm looking out into the park right now as I'm sitting here thinking, oh wow, it's coming
A day like today would be perfect.
I know. Yes, it would be perfect.
It's coming.
It would be perfect.
It's
So
coming.
we're always looking for more, people who want to have booths. But if you even, I'm just thinking sometimes people don't know if they want to jump into something like that, because it's a lot of work, but it is a lot of fun. It's like a little community, but it's a good place to come and get ideas too. Like if you're trying to think about doing it or whatever. Okay, so we're talking about art and how it's different things for different people. So do you know Colleen Wilcox, Wander on Words? She does Art in the Park too. We're going to be doing letter shaping. So you'll be able to pick maybe a quote that you like or a word that you like. It could be gratitude or whatever. And she'll show us how to make the shapes. It looks so fun. So that's the end of June. We're going to be doing crystal jewelry making, which I did 2 classes. They're like now I just love making them, so I make all kinds of crystal jewelry. Let's see. Yes, and we're starting a Mindful Heart series. It's that play on heart with a capital A-R-T. So there'll be lots of different types of classes that have to do with, being mindful and enjoying things, and like yoga really is a mindful heart thing, and we have yoga every Thursday at 6:30, and it's only $5. A lot of people like to just try yoga out, or
are you still having your life drawing classes as
we have
well?
life drawing. It's every other Thursday. Yep, 4 to
Yes,
6.
okay.
We have a live model. We have our sip and dips. The rotate
The
with
sip
that.
and dips,
We
yes,
have
they're very
ukulele lessons.
popular.
Every other week, we're talking with someone about doing more music lessons. yeah, so
Well,
we've got,
my son wants to do music lessons, guitar
Oh.
lessons, and particularly he likes working with kids. So
oh,
you should talk to
nice.
him when
Yeah, we should talk
Yeah.
when he comes, because he's gonna, her son, Steven, is going to play at one of our events coming up.
Yes,
I'm
yeah,
so
he's excited. We're digging out some songbooks and
So
getting
we
him
were,
to
I
work.
was talking with Missy, who was behind the camera, and we were talking about you and I and how long it's been, and I said, I think it was before the kids were born.
Oh my goodness.
You were you were interning. So it was, yeah, I don't really know what year that was. We may not want to put a year to that, but
95.
yeah, because my son's 21, and yours is what, 19?
Yeah, he's 18. He
18?
was born 2001.
Yeah, so it's yeah, it's just crazy when you think about that. And you don't look any different, Stephanie.
And that's
know
why
how
we're
our kids
still
get older.
friends. We're so
Right.
sweet. We should remind our viewers, because our time is getting low,
Yes.
that to catch the opening reception for Ann McFarren's art show, you should come on Friday, June 21st, right, from 5 to 8. But it'll be up for another month if you don't get a chance
Exactly.
to catch that opening reception. And that, I think, is the biggest thing that's coming up here at the Chaffee very soon.
Very exciting.
Well, I'm very excited to
She's
have
been
it.
working very hard. She's been doing a lot of new paintings.
I have done a lot of new painting this year.
Yeah, and she's doing these diptychs, which I just learned. Don't you love that word, diptychs? And I just learned that. So you can, the painting, there's two paintings that, go together, but it can
Yes.
also be separate.
They can each stand alone,
Yes, each
but
stand alone.
putting
As well,
together,
right?
they make a larger painting.
Triptych. Is that what you-
Triptychs.
You
are
could do a
3, right?
triptych
And then
as well.
Yes.
And you're gonna
Yes.
have one huge painting, right? One pretty big painting, right?
I have one that's fairly good size.
Yes.
I have to be careful not to get them too big because then I don't have any place to
To
keep
put it
them.
on.
They're,
Well, I
I
can't
have
be the
a-
only one who's inspired by the fact that you still have so much inspiration and ideas after 50 years. You're still
it's
going
my
to love to do
absolute
it.
passion.
Yes.
It's so, I know, it's so
That
wonderful.
means that the world around you still
Yeah, I
It's
just
exciting.
love
Excites
doing
you
it.
and
And I
fascinates
can't envision stopping. My daughter-in-law says, well, I don't think you'll ever stop,
Nor should
But
you.
I said, I can't just keep going forever.
She went to Maine, what, 2 weeks, a month ago? Went to Maine and you were painting? When was that? You went not long ago.
Well, I did.
And she was she went outside of some area and she's doing her painting.
That was last summer,
they
though,
call
when
that?
I
Plein
painted
air?
outside over there. I painted on the marginal way. My granddaughter took me one day because it's so busy there.
Yes.
And I went early in the morning and we went up the path. And sure enough, there was a bench all set there for me.
I said, Ann, this is your
And I
scene.
could
If you
overlook
go out
it.
there, you think you can paint. If you're standing at the marginal way, you're thinking, I'm an artist. Even if you can't paint a thing.
Is that beautiful?
But you belong there.
This is one that I just did from
wanna
a
go?
visit last summer. This one right here. It's a very unusual one. It's out on an island called Peaks Island.
Pete's?
Peak.
Peak.
P-E-A-K.
Okay.
Yes, Peaks Island, Maine. And it's actually an old veterans cemetery. Some of the stones you can see are ready to fall over. That's the only cemetery I ever painted. But it just, and you can look through the trees and see the harbor. It's only a 20-minute ferry ride. And interesting enough,
Yeah.
they're a self-contained community out there, but their children come across on the ferry. They're part of the Portland School District. Can you imagine sending your child across
So they live
20,
there,
20
and they-
minutes on the ferry,
on the
but it's a
ferry.
big enclosed ferry.
Right.
What
How
an
So-
cool is
adventure to get to
that?
school.
It's an adventure, I think, yes.
Yes. Well, thank you for sharing all of
Yes.
this with us today.
It was
And
my pleasure.
It's been a joy to speak with both of you, and because
Thank you,
it's
Steph.
all about the arts. And thanks for joining us today. It's been a lot of fun.